Okay, so I know you're always looking to improve the audio on your podcast.
Absolutely.
So you sent over an episode of your show, Podtastic Audio, and it's impressive. Seriously, it's like a mini masterclass.
I know, right? What really got me was how they took something that could be
Super technical.
Yeah. Like, how does sound actually get from your mouth to someone's headphones?
Right. It's magic or something.
But they explain it all so clearly, and it's fun to listen to.
And you know what's really helpful?
What's that?
They talk about choosing the right microphone, which is...
Oh, I bet they talked about dynamic versus condenser mics.
They did. And they nail it.
It's a classic debate, right?
Totally. But they actually made it make sense.
I think a lot of people are going to reconsider their Blue Yeti after this episode. You know what I mean?
I know, right? Because you think you need the fanciest mic to sound good, but...
Sometimes simpler is better, especially if you're recording at home.
Yeah, they actually recommend a dynamic mic for home setups.
Makes sense.
Because it does a way better job with background noise.
Totally.
And it's not just about picking the right mic. They also give tips on, like...
mic positioning.
Yep. And pop filters and all that stuff to get good sound from the start.
Yeah, those little things make such a difference.
It's the kind of stuff you don't realize you need to pay attention to until...
Well, it's too late, right?
Exactly. I was also super impressed with how they explained audio processing.
Oh, yeah, the big three.
Noise reduction, EQ, and compression.
The essentials.
They break down each one.
Give you actionable tips for each step, which is so helpful.
It's clear that they know what they're talking about, and they want to help people make their podcasts sound amazing.
For sure.
Like, for example, they talk about how to use EQ to make your voice sound warmer.
Oh, love it.
And how to adjust compression so your volume is nice and balanced.
Yeah, those are the secrets.
And I'm already thinking about how I can use these tips on my own show.
Me too, me too.
Okay, so moving on to the exporting stage.
All right.
They have this whole section on WAV versus MP3.
That's always a hot topic.
And they explain why MP3s are usually the best choice for podcasting.
Makes sense for file size and all that.
But then they also go into detail about picking the right bitrate.
Right, because you want that balance of good sound quality and...
a file that's not gigantic.
Exactly.
It was actually really interesting.
I know, right? You don't think about bitrate too much, but...
it matters.
It really does.
Okay, so I think what impressed me most about this episode of Podtastic Audio is that they take all the technical stuff.
Which can be super overwhelming.
Totally. But they make it easy to understand, and they give you a clear path to follow.
You're not just left wondering, okay, now what?
Exactly. And that's why I think anyone who has a podcast,
whether they're just starting out or
they've been doing it for years,
should listen to this episode.
There's something in it for everyone.
Absolutely. It's like a one-stop shop for taking your podcast audio from good to amazing.
And who doesn't want that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what else I really liked about the episode?
What's that?
It's how they emphasize that consistency is key.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, it's not just about making one episode sound amazing.
Right. You want all of them to sound good.
Exactly. And they actually gave a specific example.
Oh, what was it?
They were talking about bitrate
Haha.
and how you want to keep that consistent throughout your whole podcast.
Huh. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it seems like a small thing.
It does.
But for the listener, it makes a huge difference.
So what they're saying is, if the bitrate changes from episode to episode,
Yeah, then the quality can sound different.
and that's not a good thing.
Not really. It can be jarring for listeners.
Makes sense.
It's almost like you're creating a brand for your audio.
Ooh, I like that.
You want it to be recognizable and enjoyable every time someone hits play.
And consistent.
Yeah, basically you want to respect your listeners' time.
In their ears,
Exactly. Give them a smooth listening experience.
so they can focus on what you're saying
Precisely.
and not be distracted by technical stuff.
Totally.
You know, I've definitely listened to podcasts where the audio is all over the place.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like 1 minute, it's super loud, and the next, it's...
Like you have to turn it up.
yeah, and then there's weird background noise.
It's so distracting.
It takes you right out of the story.
You can't even focus on what they're trying to say.
But then when a podcast has good, clean, consistent audio,
It just sounds professional.
it makes you trust the host more.
And you want to keep listening.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely. You want to create something people want to hear.
Something they enjoy listening to.
Yeah, and that they'll tell their friends about.
Word of mouth is the best.
For sure.
So I guess what I'm getting from this episode of Podtastic Audio is that
Yeah,
the little things really do matter.
they really do.
Like choosing the right bitrate or using compression effectively
It all adds up to a better listening experience.
and happier listeners.
Exactly. And who doesn't want that?
It's funny, before listening to Podtastic Audio, I didn't really think that much about audio quality.
Uh-huh.
Like I knew it was important, but I didn't realize how much of a difference it makes to the listener.
I think a lot of podcasters are like that at first.
Yeah.
They're so focused on the content.
Right. You just want to get your ideas out there.
Exactly.
But this episode really made me see that audio quality.
It's not an afterthought.
No. It's a huge part of what makes a podcast good.
It's part of the storytelling.
It's like you're creating a world for your listeners.
Yeah. And if the audio is bad,
it takes them out of that world.
Totally.
But what I love about Podtastic audio is that they give you the tools to make your audio great.
And they explain everything so clearly.
It's not just like, do this, do that.
They actually explain why you're doing it.
Which is so helpful.
It is. You're not just following blindly.
Exactly. So if you're a podcaster out there,
newbie or pro,
doesn't matter.
Go listen to Podtastic audio.
Seriously, it's a must listen.
It'll change the way you think about your podcast audio.
And who knows, maybe it'll even help you get more listeners.
Definitely worth a shot.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Catch you next time.